Hello, this is Nick Paulson from the FarmDoc team at the University of Illinois, bringing you a 5-minute FarmDoc video looking at the relative returns to corn and soybean production in Illinois. There's a reason why the Midwest states of Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, Illinois, and Indiana are referred to as the Corn Belt region. Historically, corn has been king in these regions, which produces the majority of the corn grown in the U.S. each year. However, farm-level data from Illinois shows that soybeans have been the more profitable crop over the past 13 crop years. So what has changed and how have Illinois farmers responded? In a recent FarmDoc Daily article, we took a look at this issue. We examined returns from central Illinois grain farms on high-productivity farmland over 2000 to 2025. For the first half of this 25-year period, corn was generally the more profitable crop. Corn generated higher returns than soybeans in 10 of those 13 years, with an average advantage of about $59 per acre. A major factor which provided corn the edge during this period was the biofuel boom which occurred in the latter half of the 2000s. The Renewable Fuel Standard mandates resulted in expanding ethanol production and increased demand for corn, supporting strong prices and corn acreage increases. However, from 2013 through 2025, soybeans outperformed corn in 10 out of those 13 years. On average, soybeans generated about $53 more per acre than corn over this period. Corn briefly regained the advantage from 2020 to 2022 due to pandemic-related assistance programs, supply chain disruptions, and higher commodity prices. But overall, the recent long-term trend since 2013 has favored soybeans. Farmers' planting decisions over the last 25 years seem consistent with these relative profitability trends. Data from the Illinois Farm Business Farm Management Association shows that the percentage of farmland planted to corn trended upward from 2000 to 2012, but has trended downward since 2013. In northern Illinois, corn acreage peaked at just over 69% of total planted acres in 2011. Today, it has fallen below 60%. In central Illinois, corn's share has dropped from nearly 60% in the mid-2000s to around 50% more recently. Southern Illinois has also seen the corn acreage share decline from roughly 47% in 2012 to around 40% by 2024. Since corn and soybeans dominate Illinois crop rotations, fewer corn acres imply more soybean acres. A number of factors have contributed to the shift in relative profitability over the last 12 years. First, soybean yields have been consistently strong. Since the 2012 drought, soybean yields in Illinois have exceeded trend yield levels in nearly all years, with the one exception being the 2019 crop year, which had an extremely wet planting season. Improvements in management practices and new technologies such as seed treatments have allowed for earlier soybean planting dates, resulting in yield increases. Second, soybeans are associated with lower non-land production costs. Corn requires more fertilizer and typically involves higher machinery and operating costs. Those expenses have risen sharply in recent years, especially after the pandemic. Soybeans' lower production costs have contributed to their relative return advantage over corn, particularly during the tighter margin periods from 2014 to 2019 and more recently since 2023. Third, the biofuel growth that helped increase corn demand in the second half of the 2000s began to level off by the mid-2010s. At the same time, demand for soybean oil increased as biodiesel and renewable diesel industries expanded. A key question going forward is whether soybeans will continue to maintain a relative profitability advantage. If so, acreage in Illinois and across the Midwest region could continue to shift towards a larger share planted to soybeans. However, agronomic concerns associated with more soybean-heavy crop rotations, including disease, weed pressure, and pest management challenges, could limit how far that shift goes. For further discussion and analysis on this topic, you can check out the FarmDoc Daily article and consider signing up as a subscriber so you can stay updated on all the analysis of crop economics for U.S. Corn Belt from the FarmDoc team at the University of Illinois. Thanks for watching.